Whoa, hello. Okay, everyone wants to have the yard and garden. That's the envy of the neighborhood. And every month, our friend Perry from Classic Landscapes joins us and drops by with some tips and tricks. Perry, you pushed it to the limits today. I was scared you weren't going to join us.
Well, I wouldn't miss out on this.
I know.
I wouldn't miss out on this.
Okay, so this is actually very important. Unfortunately, we have quite a bit of snow making its way in, but that's okay because after the snowfall, get ready to start all your pruning, right?
Right. Well, some of it we can't wait. If the snow is going to stick around for a couple weeks, I haven't heard the full forecast, but I know you'll fill us in a little bit. We have a Dutch elm disease bylaw, which allows us to prune elm trees until the end of March.
Okay.
And then once we get started. So I brought in a little elm branch of some pruning we did yesterday. Now, as elms get larger, they'll have much more furrowed bark. But the reason I bring this in, it's important to identify them. We have what's present in the environment. We have elm bark beetle.
Okay.
And it spreads the fungus that's very damaging to our elm trees. And we have billions of dollars of elm trees in Alberta. And it was discovered here recently, last year for the first time in Edmonton. There was a few trees they identified. One of the things we can do is not prune during the active season of the beetles. And so they're attracted to wounds. So when we cut the ends of these trees, it sets off some chemicals. The beetles go, hey, I like to hang out there. They bring a fungus with them, and it can affect elm trees. And so we can minimize and protect our elms by pruning at the proper time. So whether the weather's good or bad, we only have a couple weeks left. So by the end of the month, we don't want to be pruning elm trees. So all that taking care of stuff right now, we're pruning elm trees like crazy. So if you have a big elm that needs it, can't do it yourself, now's the time to call somebody because we're getting right close to the wire in terms of getting it done.
That is very good information. And you said this is before the end of March, which we are fast approaching.
Exactly right.
Okay, yeah. And you can still do this probably in the snow.
Yeah, you can. Well, you're going to have to, right? And so it's one of those things that can't wait. And so obviously when we talk about pruning in general, a lot of the questions I get about, can I do this myself? Okay, and so from a safety perspective, we talk about, running up a tree with a chainsaw. I would say don't do that if you're not a professional.
Kidding.
If you can keep your feet on the ground, it's a smaller shrub, tree, great. If you have to use a ladder, make sure you got somebody with you because instability on ladders can be a problem. So
especially with a chainsaw in your hand.
Well, if you're going to do anything off your feet with a chainsaw, you need to have the expertise to do it. So get somebody to do it because you want to be safe for sure.
Absolutely. Okay, we've got some other items to touch on here.
Yeah, so if we can get
those.
tight in here, this is a poplar tree. And so what I wanted to show is this. This is something where you can see some poplars. You can actually see these trails. And this is actually from larvae that go under the bark. So this is like a poplar where the bark's been stripped off so you can see. Poplar borer is extremely prevalent in this neighborhood. A lot of times people have Swedish aspens, which are those tall columnar trees.
Right.
And this is what the larvae are doing. This sort of lighter colored brown, it's brown now, but it would be green in a living tree. That's the stuff that transports nutrition up and down the tree. It's called the cambium layer, and you can see they sort of chew into it, and that's how they affect the tree. So a tree that's under stress can get attacked by these bugs, and it causes a problem. So if you see some little holes on your poplars, and it almost looks like sawdust pouring down, it's an opportunity to get out an expert arborist to help you. We don't want to remove trees if we don't have to, but sometimes there's some things we can do in terms of fertilization and things like that to extend the life of a tree. Because obviously large trees are a big investment. And if you have to take it down, you're not going to replace it with that size. Because it took many years to grow. And so that's an important thing to understand. We can prune poplars this time of year, spruce, pine as well. But I just wanted to touch base on birch quickly. This is a birch tree. I think we all recognize it. It has the nice sort of paper birch. You don't want to be pruning birch this time of year. They have a lot of sap that runs up and down the tree, and they'll bleed a little bit more than we want. So you actually want to wait until into June and July before you prune a birch tree. Oh,
wow. Interesting. Okay. We have about 30 seconds left. You have some tools, too. Do you want to touch on those?
Yeah. So this is, a hand pruner. This is probably the most common one. Any, smaller branches, maybe up to 3/4 of an inch.
Like this?
Yeah, exactly. So a hand pruner would do something like this. If they're larger branches, obviously a saw. A hand saw is good for something, 3 or 4 inches. Obviously, when we start getting the bigger plants like this, or even this birch tree, which might be 6 across, you're looking at chainsaws and other expertise to really take them down. But again, having the proper tools that are sharp is going to go a long way to not only doing it safely, but doing a good job for the plant as well.
Okay, now we can't forget this one. Look at this guy.
Yeah,
Massive.
That's a lopper. So that's kind of that mid-range, 2 inches. Again, it gives you a little bit more leverage, especially on a larger branch. A lot of times you want to make sure you're not ripping. And so again, using a nice sharp tool is really important.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for all these tips, Perry. I always learn so much, and this was super informative. So thank you so much. For more great ideas, you can check out Classic Landscapes. And for more information, visit them online at classicgardens.ca.